I have a hit list right here in my journal, actually, of people that I plan on that I want to fight in the next year and a half on the regional scene. I have a whole list right here. So Wing C and the kid that beat me, they're definitely on my top list, along with the kid that I just signed to fight.
From MMA Island. Christopher Santiago with MMA Island. Today I'm talking to Nezzar Dimes following his first pro MMA win back in October. Nezzar, how's it going today, man?
I'm doing good, man. Doing good. Just grinding, man. Just in the gym, getting better. Just I got just signed my contract for my next bout too, actually. Literally just signed my contract earlier today. So I'm not gonna make the announcement until the promotion makes the announcement, but yeah, I already have another fight lined up.
Would you mind sharing what promotion it is?
I'm not, I mean, obviously, once you get the contract, it's a done deal. But I usually like to wait until the promotion makes the announcement. I like to let them make the announcement first before I make the announcement. But you definitely should see something in the next week.
Awesome, man. I would love to talk to you about your amateur career. You went 6-0 as an amateur, all decisions, a lot of experience, I guess. Can you talk to me a little bit more about your amateur run and what you did out there?
My amateur run was a lot of people want to say, yeah, you had a perfect amateur career, you know, perfect 6-0, two-time champ. But man, I went through a lot of hurdles in my amateur career, man. You know, just I had to scratch, claw, and really earn every single. I was given. There were times where I felt like, there would be, people that would, jump ahead of me, or and there were certain opportunities in my amateur career that I wanted that I didn't get. So it is what it is. That's amateur. Now this is a fresh, new, clean slate in the pros, and all that, everything that happened in my amateur career. I'm using it as fuel for my pro career. It's funny you asked me that as the first question. Um, I like to. I'm a competitor, man. I like competing. I like achieving everything. So I'm a huge belt collector. Growing up as a kid, when I was a huge WWE fan, I used to have a shit ton of collections of like all the different pro wrestling belts and stuff like that. And when I got into fighting, transitioning over from wrestling, I wanted to, I want to collect as many straps as much as I could, and I want to show people who the real strap collector is, and that's me.
Mhm. What prompted you to become an MMA fighter, and who were some of your inspirations that you looked up to, coming up, rising up, and training?
Well, I started wrestling when I was a teenager. Uh, Started doing that. It's funny, back to what I said about, WWE and stuff like that. When I was a kid, I was a diehard WWE fan. And all throughout elementary school, middle school, I would always, have my WWE action figures here, and I would even walk around with my toy belts. I would even dress up as John Cena sometimes and stuff like that. And then elementary school and middle school, and I remember, I think it was seventh or eighth grade. Um, there was wrestling tryouts, and me being a kid, not knowing any better, I thought it was like WWE. Like, I didn't know it was actual, like it was like the mats and stuff. So I walk in, and it's just a mat on the floor, and I'm like, oh, where's the ring? Like, where's the wrestling ring? Like, where's the ropes and all that? Where is that? And you know, um so I kind of went with it. I'm like, I gave it a try, and I fell in love with it. I did it all throughout high school. I ended up doing it in college as well. I was a national qualifier in college, and then I fell in love with that type of wrestling. I fell in love with wrestling from there, and my original goals was to always, wrestle Division One, and be a world Olympic champ, and wrestle internationally, freestyle and all that. But I never really I made it far. I was a national qualifier in a junior college, and that ultimately, I didn't have the best tournament. And the opportunity to wrestle Division One was kind of, kind of slipped away from me. And then that's kind of what led me into fighting. And I went into fighting with a chip on my shoulder. And everything worked out for the better. And sometimes we love something and we think we're made for this, but it was preparing us for something else. I always thought, I always wanted to be. My first love was wrestling. I always wanted to be an NCAA Division One champ, world and Olympic champ. But I was put on this earth and I was made to be a fighter. And yeah, and here I am now. So I started training during COVID actually. I started training during COVID. Found a gym right by me, and I think 9 months to a year later, I got my first fight, and it's just there was a lot of hurdles in my amateur career, um, and here I am now as a pro.
Hmm. And you, when you first started training MMA, did you walk into what? It was Dante Rivera BJJ, right?
Yes, yes, yes,
And that's the gym that you're at right now.
yes.
Awesome. What were the conversations like from going to amateur to pro? Like, what were the conversations like with your team?
Um, I just once I got to like 6-0, I just knew it was time for me to go pro.
Hmm. I guess obviously the things didn't work out the first time for your debut. I guess can you reflect on your debut, the emotions afterwards, and obviously you got the win in your next fight. How happier were you with your first win?
Um, Good. My pro debut, my when I made my pro debut, it wasn't really well, first things first, um first things first, it took almost a year from my last amateur fight to my first pro MMA fight. Took almost a year, with multiple fights falling through, a lot of things that were going on behind the scenes. Um that So it was definitely a rough time, in my career. Struggling to find fights. I finally got a fight. I had a shit camp, bad weight cut, and then that's what led to all of that piled up in one. Just caused me to fumble the bag in my pro debut, and then after that, I made some changes. I'm still at Dante Rivera's, obviously, but I did switch coaches though. I got a new boxing coach recently. I have a new strength and conditioning coach, and I had a nutritionist, a new nutrition weight cut coach work with me as well. And those are the adjustments I made after I lost my pro debut. And fast forward, I ended up having an amazing camp and an amazing performance in my last fight. It was a moment. It was more of a relief after I won my last fight. It was more of a relief. I wasn't like, obviously I was happy and stuff like that, but like walking back to the locker room from the cage, like I sat down and I wasn't. It wasn't like I didn't have like I wasn't like this like happy go lucky guy. It was more of just a relief and a huge weight off my shoulder, just from everything that I had went through, in the last year from things not going the way I exactly wanted to go in my amateur career to having multiple fights fall through on me to having multiple disputes with some people in my camp. But uh it was just a moment, it was a huge relief, and I'm just happy at where I'm at now in my career. I'm currently I sit here as the best one-on-one fighter in the world. And in the first half of the new year, I look to the first month of the new year, I look to solidify myself as the best two-on-one fighter in the world, and then the best three-in-one fighter in the world, and then the best four-in-one fighter in the world. And I'm looking at the new year. My goal is 4-0 and a regional belt, maybe even two regional belts. I mean, I won two belts as an amateur. I would love to win two belts on the regional scene and then go on to, UFC or PFL or one championship or
Hmm.
even Ryzen maybe. I would love to fight. I wouldn't mind fighting in Asia with that rule set they have over there. where you can knee people to the ground, soccer kick people, stomp on people, I just love to fight, man, you know?
Awesome. And you find the bantamweight division, right?
Yes, I do plan on I mean my main weight class is bantamweight, but I will if I have to, I will bounce back and forth between bantamweight and featherweight
What's it
on the
like being
regional
five?
team.
What's it like being 5'10" in the bantamweight division? Because I feel like 5'10 is a really good size for the weight class. And
Yeah, it's definitely an advantage. It's definitely an advantage, but I don't know, man. I mean, at first I never really I'm surprised at myself. I'm surprised I'm even maybe able to make bantamweight. At first when I first started training MMA, I thought I was gonna be a full on featherweight, but I ended up making the cut down to bantamweight. And now that I have the right nutritionists and the best weight cut coach, I have a good strength coach as well. I have all these new resources around me now that I can utilize them. And now, like, I had my last fight, I had the best weight cut.
you expressed some interest in Wing C, inviting him, welcoming him to the pro scene. Can you talk to me a little bit more about that? Because I see your comments in our comment section about that.
I mean, listen, nowadays in fighting, it's not just about skill nowadays. Like, you could be a nowadays, especially with social media, it's also about marketing too, and not only would it be a skilled fight, but it'd be a marketable fight as well. Not only do I would I look at that as a skilled fight, for me, it would be a marketable fight as well. And I got nothing. I mean, I can't really look past because, like I said, I signed my contract earlier tonight. I've already have an opponent locked in. Um, I can't make an announcement until the promotion makes the announcement, but I definitely do plan on seeing Wing C at some point. I do plan on fighting him at some point.
Nice, Nezzar. I guess what would the ideal 2026 look like for you, and how many fights would you like to have? How active would you like to be next year?
Very active, very active. I plan on. I would like to go 4-0, maybe even 5-0, maybe, and win one or two regional belts in the new year.
hmm
So
Did you? Oh yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
yeah, so like I said, man, all these bantamweights, I'm coming. Because like I said, so a lot of guys, like to run for me. So some guys, a lot of guys don't like to fight me and stuff like that. So you could all run, but you can't hide. I'm the king of the bantamweight division. I was the king of the bantamweight division as an amateur, being number one in the Northeast, and it's only gonna get the takeover is just gonna keep happening. My pro debut was a fluke. We on paper I'm 1-1, but stylistically wise I'm 2-0. And definitely you bring up Wing C, also to the guy that beat me in my pro debut. He's another guy that I plan on seeing at some point and getting that one back. It's funny you mentioned that, actually. Funny you mentioned all these things. Hold on. I have a hit list right here in my journal, actually, of people that I plan on that I want to fight in the next year, in the next year and a half on the regional scene. I have a whole list right here. So Winged C and the kid that beat me, they're definitely on my top list, along with the kid that I just signed to fight in the first month of the new year. So I'm all this is all business for me. I'm here to make a statement, and I'm here to make my dreams a reality, and that's to be signed to a major organization and to be a world champ. Doesn't matter whether it's UFC, PFL, or one championship, or even Ryzen in Japan. It doesn't matter. No matter where it is, as long as I have a shit ton of world titles hanging in my room and millions of dollars in my bank account, I'm living the dream. So, and I'm not gonna stop until I get that.
hmm I gotta ask, what was it like making the walk at CFFC? Because I mean, that's one of the bigger promotions over there, and especially for your pro debut. I guess what were the emotions like making your walk for that promotion?
It was definitely the bright lights definitely uh um I try not to look at make any promotion, but it's at the end of the day, man, it doesn't matter the promotion. I just want to fight, doesn't matter, whether it's CFFC, Ring of Combat, Dead Serious, or Flex, it doesn't matter. I just want to fight and stay active and win belts.
Mhm. Well, I think that's all the questions I had for you today, Nez. I just want to thank you again for the time, man. Do you have anything to send to the fans out there watching before I let you go?
Yeah, man, thank shout out to my team, at Dante's, my training partners, special shout outs, my big bro Nick Galanti. He's a middleweight that you guys, the same way I'm a threat to the bantamweight scene, he's a huge threat to the middleweight scene. Um, So definitely, we already got two guys in the UFC. We got Eric Nolan and Luke Fernandez in the UFC. Nick Galanti and Jerry Leshy, they're next. They're the next set of guys that you guys got to keep an eye out for. Like I said, we got Luke and Eric already in there. Galanti and Leshy, they're next, and then right after them, you'll be seeing me on the cusp of that next, along with a few others. Darwin Pena, Justin Rosario, Cheeto Rodriguez, and then me coming from a wrestling background, one of my best friends since I was a kid, since I was a child, and actually he's a kickboxer. Gabe Vexler. He's very active fighter under flex. He gives me a lot of kickboxing rounds. And he's helped me become a lot more comfortable on the feet. He's one of my best friends as well. And obviously Dante, my head coach. Shout out to my MMA striking coach Carl Roberson, UFC vet, Glory Kickboxing vet. Recently BKFC. Um, my strength and conditioning coach Carmine Augustino. He's helped me a lot with my strength and conditioning. My new boxing coach, Handel Bell, at HEU Boxing on Instagram. So if you're in the Middlesex County area and you want to learn some good boxing, man, hit him up. Um, who else? And my nutritionist and weight cut coach, Anthony Knox Sr. at Cut Pro on Instagram. Follow them, check them out. They work with the best wrestlers and all combat athletes, MMA fighters, and all around. So shout out to all of them, man.